Thank you for joining me again for some more calculus review. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working on some integrals. In particular, what we're going to do is we're going to go through a series of integrals, and we're going to start off with the integral of sine squared cosine x. We're going to get some practice figuring out how to do these. The first thing we need to do is actually figure out the technique of integration we need to use. And so I'm going to ask a series of questions, each one based on the answer. I'm going to ask a new question until I can determine what technique of integration to use. So now in this case, the first thing I'm going to ask is, can I guess the answer? If I can guess the answer, I'm going to write it down, and then I'm going to move on and say, can I make sure it's correct? And then I'll go through, and if it's correct, I have the answer, I'm done. In this case though, I'm going to work under the assumption that I can't guess the answer, so I'm going to move on to my next question, which is going to be, is there an inside function here? And in this case, there is an inside function. If we look at this, sine is inside of the squared function. So I'm going to set up a substitution, and I'm going to see if that's going to lead to the answer. If it does, then great. If not, we'll have to come back and try something else. So, in that way, I'm going to let I be sine of x. Then I'm going to find the differential di is the derivative of sine, which is cosine of x, times the differential dx. And then I'm going to solve for dx, and I get dx is di over cosine of x. Now as I continue with this, I'm just going to substitute in that I. I'm going to substitute in that di, and then I'm going to get the integral of I squared times cosine of x times di over cosine of x. And so I'm left with the new integral. At this point, before asking any other questions, I want to know, can I simplify this? So in order to simplify this, I notice that cosine divided by cosine is just going to give me 1. So I get the integral of I squared. So now I'm left with a new integral, and I look at it and I say, are there any x's left? I've been able to cancel out all the x's, so I've turned my original integral into an integral concerning i's instead of x's. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start over the process from there, and I'm going to see if I can find this new integral, which is simpler than the original integral. So then, my first question is, can I guess the answer? And hopefully we can actually guess this. This is a power function. So according to the power rule for integrals, what I would do is I would add 1 to the exponent and divide by the new exponent. And then I need my plus c for my constant of integration. And so I get that the integral of I squared is I cubed over 3 plus c. Since I guessed that one, I want to make sure it's correct. So I'm going to take the derivative of I cubed over 3, which would give me 3I squared over 3. 3 over 3 cancels, and I'm left with I squared. The derivative of c is 0. So notice that what I get when I take the derivative is just what I started with on the inside, or the integrand. And so I know that I found the correct integral, so I'm done with this integral. Now the last thing I have to do is remember that I introduced I as a variable, so because I introduced that, I have to get rid of that. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to recall that I let I be sine of x. So in my final integral, I'm going to have sine of x cubed over 3 plus my constant of integration c. And so we see that, yes, my new integral is sine of x cubed over 3 plus c. And so as a last step, I should check that by taking the derivative. If I take the derivative of sine of x cubed over 3, I get that it's a chain rule with the inside function being sine. The derivative of the outside is 3 times the inside squared. So that would be 3 sine squared, then divided by 3 is just sine squared. And then I have to multiply by the derivative of the inside, where the derivative of sine is cosine. So I just end up with sine squared cosine, which is the integrand, or the function I initially started with. So I have indeed found the correct integral of sine squared x cosine x dx. Thank you for watching. There are more resources available in the description below if you'd like to follow the links. You can also check out more videos available in the playlist. Please subscribe, and if you know anybody else who would benefit from watching these and get some help in calculus, make sure to share the video with them.